The following is paid programming.
It's time to talk taxes.
New friends, new opportunities, new partners. EG Tax.
It's Ask the Tax Lady with Esther Gulius and EG Tax on News Radio 930 WBEN. To reach Esther now, call 803-0930. Toll free at 1-800-616-9236. And cell calls are free at star 930. And now, live from the WBEN studios, it's Esther Gulius.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's a wonderful Saturday afternoon here in Buffalo, New York.
Perfect.
Sun shining, no clouds in the sky. And I got to say, I told my daughter I was going to start off the show with it. Got to say congratulations to the Clarence Red Devils.
That's right.
The girls soccer team for winning regionals, going on to states next weekend. So wish them all luck,
4-1.
4-1 over Victor.
That's right.
So let's let them keep going. They got an 18-game winning streak going on right now. So 2 more games for them. So congratulations again to them. I'm Chris Fabian from EG Tax. Esther, we decided she deserved a Saturday off, so she's not going to be here today, but I'm here to help you. I have in studio with me Tim Eliason, my assistant district manager, and a healthcare navigator.
Hello.
And also in studio, we have Brian Janik, who is a benefits consultant and a navigator from Sheridan Benefits. And why would I have 2 healthcare navigators on this Saturday? What just happened, Tim?
Well, the way with this came about, we've kind of partnered with Sheridan Benefits, and we've almost broken it down in 2 categories. Brian's got the expertise for anybody 65 and over, and then we both work on people under 65 because healthcare is a very important component, as we found with what they're talking about in the elections, and now when you file your tax return.
Yeah, and it's an expensive. That's, before you never really had a budget for your medical because it was all covered or whatever. Now with the prices, 15% premiums went up?
Some of them, minimum, 18% in New York. Some of them have gone up 20, 25%. Even with things that Brian does with the Medicare, the cost there. There's plans that have dramatically changed, and your exposure to your out-of-pocket, what things that you have to pay for. Those things now are a big component of a family's budget.
Yeah, it's incredible. If you have tax questions, 803-0930, 803-0930, star 930 on your cell phone, or health questions. Now's the time. I know my mother, Brian, she's over 65. I won't reveal her age. But she just had 4 people she talked to because of the difference in pharmacy, in her prescriptions. She was blown away. She goes, it was always so simple because she had Bethlehem Steel, who always covered. And then Bethlehem Steel said, we're changing it, which then she had to start looking. And I'm sure because you handle the over 65, that has to be one of the major concerns out there for seniors.
Well, prescription drugs is a huge concern. There's just so much cost that seniors have been paying for them. And the carriers themselves have all different formularies. So you could have a drug with one carrier that's covered, another carrier that's not covered, one carrier it's on a higher tier versus another carrier. So there's a lot of homework that people need to do to make sure that they're not spending too much money.
I know we at EG Tax are going through our health insurance now, and we looked, and for prescriptions, for people who don't know, you should make yourself known because, educated on the prescriptions because it's 3 tiers. Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3.
In Medicare, it's 5 tiers.
5 tiers.
5 tiers for Medicare.
Yep. So
are they getting more into tax law? That sounds like a tax law thing.
Yep. It's and then that and that thing that you have to have half of a chemistry degree. The thing that Brian was talking about called the formulary. You have to be able to know your prescriptions, maybe not by the brand name, but even by the chemical name, so you can look it up and see where that falls in because it's very difficult to find those within that formulary.
Right. And I know we looked into some plans that qualify for health insurance under Obamacare or Affordable Care Act, but they're really not insurance. They're more of a co-op.
Exactly.
They didn't cover some of the prescriptions. If you had a pre-existing condition and it was a regular regulatory thing you needed, they wouldn't cover it. And I mean, my wife's on 3 of those, and that would have cost us like almost $1,000 a month.
Yep.
And that's one of the things. A lot of times people want to look at the health insurance and the cost, and they just look at the premium.
Yeah.
And you can't just look at what the premium is nowadays. You got to look at what your total out-of-pocket cost is. You got to look at how much are you paying for the drugs, how much are you paying for co-pays and everything else that's out there. Because if you don't take a total cost approach and you take the cheapest plan may end up costing you more in the long run. Whereas if you paid a little bit more for a plan, it may have saved you hundreds or $1,000s throughout the entire year just by paying a little bit of extra for the plan.
Yep.
And it would be nice, the marketplace in New York. New York runs its own marketplace to do the applications for everything. Actually, I help people through the federal one. And the other marketplaces have some great things when you're setting up there. They ask you, how many times do you go to the doctor? How many prescriptions do you have? How many, specialists do you see? Things like that, so that when you put all that information in to get your estimate, it's really telling you, hey, this is the best plan for you based on how you use your insurance. We have to kind of figure that out between Brian and I when we talk to a client as to how they use their insurance.
Right. 803-0930, 803-0930, star 930 on your cell phone. If you have questions, give us a call. Look, you have somebody here. Just pick up the phone, dial, that can answer your questions. I mean, nowadays, that's unheard of. I hate to say that. Trying to get in touch. I know you, Tim, trying to get in touch with New York State to ask questions. I mean, I hear more yelling than I do talking sometimes.
Well, I'm just educating them on how the tax laws and the Affordable Care Act actually work. So it's just a healthy discussion. It's not really yelling at them. So.
And I'm sure Brian's the same way, But it is, you got to educate the consumers. It's the words of Cy Sims. Uneducated consumer is our worst customer. Or he always said an educated consumer was the best customer. And it's the same thing for you guys, probably.
And one of the things that where from the tax part of it that people really, really need to make sure they're aware of it is New York does a reconciliation on your tax return every single year. So if you estimate too high on your income, they're going to tell you that, okay, your income was lower, you should have had more of a subsidy, we're going to give it back to you. But if you do it the other way, they're going to come back and they're going to tell you that, you know what, you owe this money back. And if there are people out there that are constantly trying to get people to maybe take some deductions that they shouldn't be taking, saying, it'll work its way out in your tax return. Yeah, it's going to work its way out in a tax return to your negative part to it.
Yeah,
and a lot of people rely on that tax return for other things than, paying their property taxes and stuff like that. And
it's a hard thing.
Tough.
I mean, we've seen it, Tim, and where the other navigator from a different place wouldn't put on the husband's income when it was the wife applying for health insurance, or his disability through Social Security, or her disability. And it's unfortunately, Tim and I are the ones who usually give the bad news to people. I had to tell somebody this year they owed $11,000 back because their mother died, and they got an annuity and they cashed it in, and that's tough. But we're going to take a short break. And when we get back, we're going to talk to Nancy, Sam, and John. So if you have calls, give us a call back. This is EG Tax. We are talking health insurance, but we will help you with tax questions, too. We'll catch you on the other side. I won't torture people with singing, but... but we're EG Tax. We're here to help you. Every week we're here answering your tax questions. This week we have 2 experts on the health to help you with health care, trying to figure out what's the best thing for you. Tim Eliason, who works with us at EG Tax, will help you through the under 65 when you don't qualify for Medicare. And then we have Brian Janik from Sheridan Benefits, who is a navigator also, who can help people once you hit 65 with the decisions with Medicare and Epic and all that. And we'll get into Epic. I know that's always a hot button for seniors, but we do have Nancy, who's been holding for a long time. And Nancy, how can we help you?
Yes, I have approximately $35,000 in a home equity loan out. I'm 86 years old, and I do have money in my retirement IRA that could cover that. And I'm wondering, does it make sense if interest rates go up? I'm paying 3% now on that, which isn't as high as a lot of home equities. And does it make sense to take money out and pay taxes on the money I take out of my IRA to get rid of that 3% that I'm paying?
Well, the thing is, what's your other income, Nancy?
Well, I've got, let's see, between my husband's pension and my Social Security, it's about $25,000 a year.
Okay, how much is his pension?
About $12,000. So it's $25,000 altogether.
Okay. So he has no Social Security?
And my Social Security. My husband's dead.
Oh, okay. So it's just you. So you're at $12,000. So if you were to take money out of your IRA to pay for your home equity, you're going to pay at least 15%. So where you're paying 3% interest, you're going to pay 15% in taxes. So you're actually going to end up losing money.
Well, that's what I wondered. Whether that would be a smart move. I suppose if interest rates went up, then I've got the money invested in mutual funds. I don't know whether with today's climate I can make more than 3%, or I've been making more than that now. Who knows in the future?
Right. But I mean,
7%. It's worth keeping it and not, and then just paying the 3%. I see that.
Yeah, but are you on a fixed home equity where it's always going to be 3%, or are you on an adjustable rate?
No, it's actually it's adjustable. That's adjustable. That's what I'm wondering is what might happen to that.
Yeah, that's where you're going to have to look at if that starts to skyrocket. But I don't think we're going to see a drastic increase in interest rates that would, I think, just destroy the economy right now. But I would not touch the IRA right now to close out your home equity.
Okay, well, that certainly answers my question. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Nancy, anytime. Okay, and let's go to Sam from Cheektowaga, who has... nope, I actually have John on the phone. Hit the wrong button. Hey, John, how can we help you?
How you doing?
Good.
I'm just, I'm confused because, I'm retired. I collect Social Security. My wife collects Social Security. When I hit 65 in 9 months, they started charging me for Medicare. And then, of course, during the campaign, Mr. Obama, he said that all our insurances are going to be coming down by $2,500.
And your Medicare went up?
Well, not my Medicare. My Medicare, the copay. The copay went up. I have a cousin of mine that has a plan with Obamacare. Before he can collect, he's got to pay $2,000 on him and $2,000 on his wife before this Obamacare kicks in. And I'm just wondering, in your opinion, do you think if Hillary Clinton gets in, she'll get this thing straightened out?
There's two roads we're going to go down after the election. One is because of the expense of the health care and what is going on with it, that we will eventually move directly into universal health care. So for those under age 65, you're going to end up with a system similar to Medicare because there will not be any insurance companies that want to participate in the marketplace because it's kind of a losing proposition for them.
Well, Medicare.
Yeah, well, but under 65, you'd have universal health care, almost be the same thing.
Right, where you're talking about your brother.
Exactly. He's under 65, correct?
I'm over 60.
Right, but you just said you had somebody who was related to you that had a $2,000 deductible for them and their wife.
They're young. They're in their, maybe 40?
Well, that's where the big impact's going to happen, is to the people under 65.
Yep, and so we're going to either have universal health care, where you'll have one option that'll chances are will be a government-run health care that'll be very similar to the model that you see for Medicare, or we're going to have... if you will, the walls will come down. The insurance market will not be by county. It will be by region. We may have a region ourselves here in Western New York that would range from Rochester down towards the Finger Lakes, Bradford, and to Erie, Pennsylvania. Then we'd have 10 or 12 companies vying for their business. For those under 65, the more competition, the price is driven down.
And then, Brian, what about for people on, like he said, he's on Medicare and his prescriptions are going up? What?
The problem that's happening with Medicare right now is when you sign up with a carrier, you're still paying your Medicare Part B premium, but Medicare itself is paying a monthly amount to the insurance company. Now, over the years, the government keeps cutting what that reimbursement amount is to the insurance carriers. As they cut that amount to the insurance carriers either have to raise their premiums, they have to raise the co-pays, and they got to adjust the plans so that they fit inside the new financial model that keeps coming out. You know, you got Medicare is this pile of money that the government has, and at times it becomes a pretty easy pot to go after to say, hey, if I take my reimbursement down $50 a month, it's going to create 20, 30, whatever millions of dollars that's going to give the government to use for somewhere else. But that has an impact on every single person who has Medicare at that point, because the less that they reimburse the carrier, the more that you're going to pay out of pocket. And that's what happened. You know, Independent Health right now, as a carrier, they eliminated 2 of their plans for 2017. And there's 58,000 people on those 2 plans. You have seniors out there, people over 65, that have to make a plan choice for January 1st, and has nothing more to do with the fact that the financial model in Medicare keeps changing year to year, and the carriers are forced to make their changes.
Yep. So, and to answer your question about, will Hillary improve it? Hillary is the one that was behind the Obamacare. If you remember, I believe it was when her husband was in office, she was pushing for this plan. Mm-hmm. So yep. I do not believe that she will improve it. I believe it's going to get a lot worse before it could even get any better for health insurance.
Well, I've been working since I was 14, and I started paying into the system at 15. We had a paper route,
yep.
And stuff like that. And it really aggravates me that, none of the politicians are on Obamacare. And I was in the food business years ago, and you know what? Competition sells.
Yep, exactly.
And anything run by the government, I wouldn't let them look at. I'm a veteran, and look at the VA. People can't get care. Anything run by the government is disaster.
Exactly.
Yep. But all we can do is pray that something happens, that our government gets turned around into a more better system, that they wake up and see that we're struggling. It can't continue with what's going on. Or
are you with Esther Gulich?
Yes, I am.
All right. Yeah, she used to go to our church.
Yep.
When you said about praying, we do a lot of praying.
That's what our country needs to do right now.
Yep. Between now and Tuesday, there should be a lot.
All right.
Okay. Thank you, John.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I know somebody I know was on a plane coming back to Buffalo, and they were sitting next to a doctor. And they said the doctor was fed up with the insurance because that one of their patients came in, and their brother, who came in from Turkey, was with them and said, I just had my gallbladder taken out in Turkey, but I'm not feeling good. And she goes, well, I can run a test. He goes, but I have no money. How much? She goes, it's a $45 test. He goes, okay, I can pay $45. Gave him a prescription, went over. The hospital was right next door. He came back and said, maybe I misunderstood you. They wanted $10,000. And she fought the head of the hospital, this doctor, and the doctor, you don't understand. We have overhead and we have this, and then if we bill the insurance company $2,000, they're only going to pay us $500, so we have to bill a lot more.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's the problem.
That was one of the things, too, that nobody really realized was happening inside the Affordable Care Act, was the whole coding system on how they code all the different services within the different things, and that allows the insurance company and the rate that they can charge for it as far as somebody's copay. Yeah. So when that was revamped within it, that was the same thing. That's what that cost is.
Okay. Now let's go to Sam. Hey, Sam, how can we help you?
Hi, gentlemen.
Hey, Sam.
Should have
Hello, Sam.
the Medicare, but you should find it interesting. The question's lengthy, but the answer should require a one-word answer. Okay, at the turn of the century, a major life insurance company converted from mutual insurance to being a publicly...
Most of them did that, yep.
Demutualization.
Right, exactly. Okay, and they issued shares to the policyholders. Okay, now if I want to sell my shares, are my profits based on a zero, or are they going to be figured at the IPO?
They're going to be. This was a debate. The government kept changing their answer, but as of right now, it's the IPO.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
So it will save you a little bit of money.
Yep, there was a court case, I believe, out in Idaho where somebody had actually sued for that, and that was the case that they went back and found out what that IPO was on all those insurance companies when they demutualized, and so they should be good.
Excellent, guys. Very good. Good definitive answer, and I really appreciate your help.
Not a problem. Anytime, sir. And we're Chris. I'm Chris from EG Tax. With Tim Eliason from EG Tax as well, and we got Brian from Sheridan Benefits. And if you have health questions during the week, if you're under 65, give Tim a call at our office, 632-7886, and we got other navigators there that could help them. And if you're over 65, you need help, talk to Brian Janik at Sheridan Benefits at 580-3773, 580-3773. Our philosophy at EG Tax is to help people. And that's what we're here. That's why we bring in our special guests, to make sure people get the correct information, because that's the problem. When they talk to their neighbors over the fence, Tim Allen and what was the guy's name on Home Improvement? Oh, with the hat. You never saw his face. I can't think of his name. But he would always talk to his neighbor. But nowadays, the neighbor may not know what's going on with health insurance or know what's going on with taxes because it's changing. Well, call the people who know.
Exactly. And the thing, too, is with those situations is that they may have the scenario that works for them and their tax situation and their sources of income or their expenses, and it may be totally different for anybody else. It's not one size fits all.
Right. Okay, we're going to break for the news. Again, Chris from EG Tax here with Tim from EG Tax and Brian from Sheridan Benefits answering your healthcare questions, and we'll catch you on the other side of the news. Well, we're bebopping in here away because it is a clear, beautiful Saturday in Buffalo, New York. Gotta love it. And I know we got a full bank of calls, but someone did text in with the question, Tim. What is that question?
It says, is an insulated garage door for an attached garage deductible? And then they said thank you ahead of time.
Well, who's thinking about insulated garage doors on a day like today? But you know what? As long as it's attached to your house, an insulated garage door does qualify for your energy credit. But remember, that goes under doors, and your whole energy credit is limited to $500 a lifetime. Not a tax return, a lifetime. So if you claimed it before and you already used your $500, unfortunately, you wouldn't be able to use it now.
Exactly.
But Chris from EG Tax, here to help you with your tax questions. Have two special guests in studio, Tim Eliason, our Assistant District Manager, who's also a navigator, and we have Brian Janik, who's also a health navigator for people who are over 65, we'll say, and he's with Next the Financial Guys, and Sheridan Benefits. So you can reach him, 633-1515, 633-1515 during the week. And, he'll help you there. If you're under 65, Tim can help you at our corporate office at 632-7886. So give them a call during the week. Free information. You can't beat that. So now let's go back to the phones, and it looks like we have Sandy from Pendleton. Hey, Sandy, how can we help you?
Let me please start by telling you that I love my Saturdays with WBEN. I can't tell you how much money I have saved through the years just by listening to both the Financial Guys and Esther Gullia's show.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Without you guys listening, we wouldn't have a show, so definitely thank you.
Love it. But I wanted to tell you about our visit this week with Brian Janik. I heard about him on your radio show a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, on the Financial Guys, and then made our appointment and went and sat down. Now, I think I'm pretty savvy when it comes to selecting our insurance each year. But we were with that independent health group that were canceled because it was dissolved. So I decided that this time I would try to get some advice. So I went to see Brian, and I can't tell you how much money that saved me and how much it opened our eyes as to the little hidden charges that we're paying that we don't even know about. Like, for instance, there are preferred drugstores. I didn't know that. And if you're a preferred drugstore, your drugs can be cheaper at those drugstores.
Exactly. There's all those little nuances that Brian knows from ins and outs, and
exactly.
That's why it's been a great relationship between the two of us, because we've taught each other an awful lot, so that we're able to find those little things that are hidden.
I found out that that different insurance companies can register your drugs at different tiers. Like the same drug at Independent Health might be a different tier at Univera.
Exactly, and we're seeing that a lot. What I see with it for the under 65, when I'm looking things up for the upcoming year, is diabetic. All the insulins and supplies and stuff for diabetics, that a lot of those have been shifted up by certain companies into a higher tier where they're out of pocket. Mm-hmm. And people are seeing it where they used to have a prescription that was $20, now they go in, it's $200.
Well, it's an amazing feature, and I'll tell you what, I think the worst thing that they can do to the elderly is try to make them go through this dance every November. And to have someone in your corner who is a negotiator, who knows the ins and outs, it's worth an hour, 2 hours of your time. It will save you money, guaranteed.
Well, Sandy, it was a pleasure meeting you guys. So I have definitely enjoyed that part of it, and I'm glad you took the time to call, because it does. You know, now somebody can hear from somebody that's gone through the process, mm-hmm. and how different that it really is, and how different it is with each one of the insurance carriers, and how having somebody independent of an insurance carrier can be a good thing, just to figure out what is best for you in your situation. So,
and I think the important part that you need to stress is that it doesn't cost anyone to sit down with you, doesn't cost anyone. You make your money from the insurance companies.
Yep, that is true. We get paid by the insurance companies. We don't get paid by the people we sit down with. So, and
with the premiums you're paying to insurance companies, I think they can probably afford it. So
exactly. No matter which company you put us with, they still will pay your salary. So I think that's an important feature that people need to understand, because it just, in this day and age, you do have the idea that something's got to be up with this. Why would he work for me for free? What's in it for him type of thing.
Yeah, because I'm a nice guy, Sandy.
Well, because like I said before, we love helping people, and that's what our family of, our experts do. We help people. So. And
we love it. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Sandy.
And just like taxes are individual,
mm-hmm.
Healthcare is more individual than almost taxes, because every person has to look at each thing to see what's best for them. It's no longer Bobby and Susie, who's neighbors with Joe and Terry. It can be the same health insurance, because each family has their own unique thing that they need.
Mm-hmm. Well, even different people in the family.
Yep.
You have two people over 65. You don't have to take the same carrier. You don't have to take the same plan. And I think that's where some married couples get into the habit of, well, I'm just going to take what
we're married, so we got to be together.
It's easier if we both have the same thing.
Yep.
Well,
easy's not always the best thing.
That's true. We got to watch the dollars. So.
Yep. Okay, now let's go back to the phones, and we got Don. Hey, Don, how can we help you?
Hey, I just opened up a place. This is on your top line here, but I just opened.
That's all right.
It's a Boulevard Mall, little pizza place, and I have a lot more employees than what I thought I was going to need. Business is very good. A payroll, that's my issue, because I'm not very good at this stuff. I'm doing my best, but I'm like,
yep.
I need to know for payroll.
Okay, well, payroll is a whole nother tax industry, and if you're not comfortable doing it, if you're not good at it, you do not want to screw up payroll tax. Believe it or not, income tax you can screw up, and the government, I won't say they don't care, but they won't. They'll go after you a little at a time, but payroll tax, they'll shut you down. So the best thing I can tell you, Don, is to call a firm. We have a payroll person on staff. Sheridan Benefits does payroll. It may be worth the $40 a week or a pay to have someone do your payroll, because then it's done right and you won't have any worries and you can sleep at night.
Any worries, because you know what? Suddenly I find myself working like not back, doing all the paperwork that I love to be doing and all the product tracks I would like to be doing. I'm working up front,
Yep.
And I'm like, payroll, it's like, oh my gosh, it's a nightmare. I don't even know where to start. So
Yep. Well, you can.
Service would be best then.
Yep. But definitely a service. Don't go in over your head. Have somebody help you with it.
Yeah, because the last thing I want is like any hiccups. The government comes in and says, "Oh, you didn't do this right," and that's like a hiccup.
Yep, definitely. If you want to give us a call on Monday, we can give you a couple names, Sheridan Benefits, where you can talk to our person and you can see what's the best fit for you.
All right, beautiful. I appreciate that. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Don. Good luck with the new business.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And then, let's see, last we have Gary, who's been waiting a long time. Hey, Gary.
Yeah, how you doing, guys? Can you guys look into your future, the crystal ball, and describe how a single-payer plan, if it comes to that, in the United States would look? And if you could go through it and just, see what, tell us what happens.
My crystal ball is saying talk to anybody in Canada who's on a plan like that right now and asking them how they like their health insurance. That's my opinion, but I'll let Tim and Brian give their own too.
Yeah, it's the crystal ball says that it would not be pretty because everything would become, just as we find with everything else in the industry, would become so regulated, and the time that it would take to get treatment. When we hear our friends from Canada that I talk to that come down for their tax returns, the first thing they say to us is, how did you let somebody mess up your healthcare system? Now I have nowhere to go to get my healthcare because they leave Canada and come to the United States to get their healthcare because they don't have to wait 3, 6, 9 months for a test if it's not an absolute necessary medical condition that needs to be addressed immediately. So, that's the thing the one payer is going to do is just create backlog.
Yeah, a single payer system, in my opinion, isn't the greatest solution because the best way to drive any price down is competition. And if you kind of take the competition out of the mix and there's only one carrier that's paying everything, they're going to try to regulate out to the doctors what they're going to pay. And then what you may find is the doctors are going to, and the providers are going to be scarce. And you may find issues on that side of it.
Wait a minute. That almost sounds like a monopoly. And doesn't the government make it illegal to have a monopoly in a business?
Yep.
So wait, the government breaking their own law and trying to do a monopoly with health care.
Exactly.
That's true.
I mean,
and if you're a doctor and your rates and everything that you do is going to be regulated and your income's almost going to become fixed, what's your incentive to be in that industry?
Yep.
Is there going to be a shortage of doctors then?
Yep. And 803-0930, 803-0930. Call us now because we got about another 15 minutes left. We'll take your questions, star 930 on your cell phone. We're here to help you. If you don't call, you're giving up free help, and that's what we want to do. So Chris Fabian from EG Tax, and we'll catch you on the other side of the break.
Very good choice of music today. Very good. I commend you.
I don't know. We're talking health insurance, and it's you want to make me live.
Yep. There's ulterior motives there. There's ulterior motives.
But Chris,
dance moves are keeping you healthy, Chris.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Chris Fabian from EG Tax here we're here to help you with tax questions. We have 2 experts and staff here in studio to help with your health care. Tim Eliason for people under 65, Brian Janik from Sheridan Benefits / the financial guys, and they're here to help. Like we had Sandy call. It's worth the hour to sit down with these guys because they know it. And there are a lot of different, I see Brian's shirt has puzzle pieces. Hate to say it, but there's a lot of different pieces in every health insurance. I don't care. You could compare Independent Health's Gold to United Healthcare's Gold, but how many different Gold plans does each one have?
Well, and that too. And then prior to the show, Brian and I were talking, when you get to that too, then you have to look at who do your doctors, what part of what organization, are they with a Buffalo Medical Group? Are they with the Kaleida Health System? You have to make sure you know if there is an insurance that your doctor is going to accept. And if you're not sure on that, then you go to the doctor.
And I hate to say it, I believe it was Independent Health that just canceled who for chemotherapy?
There seems to be a little There seems to be a little rift between the sandbox isn't big enough for the both of them. So the CCS and Independent Health have kind of parted ways, and now we have individuals coming into open enrollment that have to rethink their entire insurance because of one situation. Not just the doctors that treat them there, but they're doctors that treat them elsewhere.
Yep. So, give us a call. Let us help you. We have Dolores from Hamburg. Hey, Dolores.
Hello. Would you be able to help me, please, on something? If you have an HSA with a bank, and that bank is selling their HSA stuff out to someone else, do you have to stay with the same HSA person, or can you go elsewhere?
You can roll over your HSA.
And what's the advice in terms of what direction one wants to go?
A lot of times when we're talking about the HSAs, you're going to want to do some research on the banks themselves. Banks have different fees associated with them. Some have, when you get over certain thresholds, you can get into investment accounts where you can start to make more than the standard 0.1% that an HSA is making now. Obviously you're not retiring on a 0.1% with an HSA. So a lot of times when it comes to the HSA, we have some people that want the convenience of being able to go to a local bank if they have questions. There are some national HSA banks. People do everything online. Some people don't like that. Some people want to go local with it. So there is some research that can be done with the HSAs and the local providers. We got some really good local banks around here that do them. So
and she could give you Dolores could give you a call during the week if she wanted to have help direct her and the best for her.
Yep.
So Dolores, you can reach Brian during the week at 633-1515.
Oh, thank you very much.
And he'll help you during the week, and there's no cost.
I really appreciate your assistance. And I have another quick question.
Sure.
You had a big thing over the weekend with the financial guys, and you were all there.
Correct.
And I was unable to get there. And I was hoping that you would be having a pack of CDs that you could sell from the financial guys or your own company. Did you tape record?
No, there was nobody there recording. That would have been a great idea. That's something to think for next time. But you could always give us a call. Like we said, we'll sit down with people for free. And I know Mike and Glenn and Mike Hayfleck and Brian, they'll all sit down with you for free. So if you have specific questions, Dolores, give anybody a call, and we'll help you with whatever it is.
I thought that was a wonderful education opportunity, and I should have called them and said, tape it.
Well, from what I gather, Dolores, I do believe that the goal is to have this as an annual event. So it was there was such good feedback from it, and I don't want to put words in Mike's mouth, in the financial guy's mouth, but I think everyone thought it was very successful.
Yes.
So
I would say so. I would say it was absolutely brilliant, and I thank all the efforts of everyone who is doing this for the man in the street. And by the way, you were talking about the health care in Canada.
Yep.
And I think I have something from the California Club of something or other, originally when they were proposing the health care. And it's a lady from Canada who was the head of this organization in California that was Canadian and said, please don't do this, don't do this. Now, my next question is, can we as Americans, how many millions of us, make sure that we have a referendum all across the country where our congressmen, senators, and all these people that are getting their golden parachutes Why can't we have a referendum and make them go under the same program?
You'd think in theory and, being practical on that, you'd think that would be the case, that our elected officials that come from the general population would have the same health care that we do, but...
They don't.
Well, to kind of tell you how chance of that ever happening is when the Affordable Care Act did pass, the initial part of it said that everybody was going to be covered underneath the same law, including the politicians. One of the first referendums to it that passed was the fact that it did not apply to the elected officials.
There was a referendum on that?
Yep, that was one of the first things that was passed by Congress to make sure that they were not part of that system.
Well, that would not be a referendum by the people. A referendum.
It would have been not a referendum. I mean, it would have been a law passed by.
Yep, they amended it.
They amended it. So.
They definitely have made it a golden. Well, I think every one of you should go into because you're so honorable, ethical. I hope that everybody does term limits and take everybody out. One term and you're gone.
Yep. Okay. Well, thank you, Dolores, for your call. And if you need us again, 632-7886, you can call us at EG Tax, or you can call Brian at 633-1515, and he'll help you, okay?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Dolores had a great point, and people kind of lose sight of the advantage of the health savings account, because not only for somebody under 65, but also for that individual over 65. Because, it's a great way if you don't itemize and you can't take that deduction on your itemized free medical, it's a great way to get a dollar-for-dollar reduction in your taxable income with your AGI being reduced by that health savings account. You have to have a high deductible plan in order to qualify, or the plan has to be health savings account eligible. But when I hand you off to Brian and he turns 65, then that health savings account becomes
an IRA.
And then you have the advantages of it to use it in two ways. You can still use it as tax-free in, tax-free out dollars medical, but you don't have to worry about the penalty for those withdrawals.
Yep. So it's a great plan. And let's go fastly to Larry from Georgia. Hey, Larry.
Chris. Hey, guys. Thank you so much. Guys, a couple of points. One, Chris, and the financial guys. I hope and pray that you guys keep up with your podcasts. They are gems. I miss them terribly. That's one. Two, I want to ask the guy a personal question. I'm over 65. I'm in Medicare, and I currently have a health advancement program with Kaiser, which I love. Is there anything I need to know about, I need to do about that? And then lastly, Pearson, guys, I guess as a citizen and patriotic American, I want to kind of push back on what I heard about Obamacare and the whole health plan, the Canadian plan. I think that, it's going to be impossible to please everyone all the time. That's obvious. I also think that I believe that most Canadians and most people in the UK with a national health plan will not give up their plans. Does Obamacare need tweaking? Positively. But I just think of the bad old days before Obamacare, where 20 million people who currently have health insurance had nothing at all, where the insurance companies were raising the premiums every year, and we say, I'm a diehard capitalist. But also, too, most accidents were caused by medical expenses. So I personally think that Hillary Clinton will do more to improve the health care system than Trump, who would like to just dump it and turn it back to the open market. So I kind of want to get your feedback on that, guys, if I can.
Okay, well, we're gonna have Brian talk to you about your Medicare. I know. Remember, he's in Georgia, so I don't know if you know the plans in Georgia.
I'm not familiar with the plans in Georgia, but what I can tell you is that right now you're in your open enrollment period for Medicare. So you have from now until December 7th to take a look at your plans to make your choice for January 1st. Again, the things that I'm going to tell you, that any plan you look at out there, check the formulary with different carriers, check the provider network, and then check the overall cost. Not only add what the premium is that you're paying, but also what your co-pays are on a monthly basis.
Right. So so Larry, you got to do some homework. You do Google. You're good on the computer. We know you listen to us over that way. So Google, see in Georgia down there who can help you. And if they're going to charge you to help you, don't use them. That's the best piece of advice. In healthcare with the election, I hate to say it, we're in trouble one way or another. It's the best thing for people to do is go out and vote.
Exactly.
And research, and really research to see who's going to be the best candidate for you, who's going to look out for you. We all say they all are, but I can tell you from our local senators to congressmen to VP to president, they don't look out for us. And I don't want to get political, but...
Yep, you got to be your own healthcare advocate. That's kind of what we're talking about, because you need to do the research. And, whatever the rules that are set up by the politicians, we got to play by the rules and use them to the best we can.
Yep. And let's go to Joanne from West Seneca. Hey, Joanne.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
I have a question about the prescription coverage on the health care plans. Now, this is, believe it or not, I work a part-time job, and being the part-time employee, I am given prescription coverage.
That's very good.
Went to go talk to these various providers. If I take a plan that has zero premium, the reason why it's a zero premium is because they do not offer prescription, which is okay in my case. But then they were telling me something about that if I were to lose my job and I would need to get prescription, I would have to pay a penalty.
How old are you, Joanne?
Well, see, I'm just going to be turning 65 in December, so I'm just going to start to qualify for Medicare.
Well, one thing, we're running out of time, so I wish we had more time on you, is Epic. Because if depending on your income, you may qualify for Epic, which is a prescription plan, right?
Well, Epic layers onto a prescription plan. It can't replace what you have. It can go on what you have. But you do have a couple of things, Joanne, is you can have your Medicare plan. You can keep the plan you have to your employer. If you lose that coverage, you do have options at that point when you lose it.
Because it's a life-changing event.
Right.
And Joanne, I got to say, give Brian a call at 633-1515. That's 633-1515 during the week. He will go over all this with you, okay?
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm Chris Fabian from EG Tax with Tim Eliason. Thank you. Brian from Sheridan Benefits / Financial Guys. We want to help you guys. Give us a call during the week. And until next Saturday, have a good one. Enjoy the sunshine.